Doing Sergeant First Class Involuntarily Separated, John DeLarm, my co-host Scott Lauterball. What's up, Scott?
Going on, episode 89. We're going back to back. Yesterday with 88, 89 today with Rob. Let's get to it.
Anyways,
Yep.
Today I got my special guest, Roadie Rob. All right, Sergeant / Corporal, United States Marines, correct? All right.
Yes.
Rob, hey, go ahead and kind of introduce yourself a little bit and give us some background, and let's go from there.
All right. Well, yeah, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me on and give me the opportunity to talk about this stuff. You guys are awesome, and I've been following your work for a while now, as you know. My name's William Robison. I go by Rob mostly. My moniker on social media is Roadie_Rob at 37. And I was kicked out of the United States Marine Corps, yes, for vaccine refusal. It was a little more complicated than that. I was one of the many cases where the commands would throw the book at an individual and saw what stuck in order to facilitate their departure from military service. And I was one of those. There's tens of thousands of cases like that are not categorized under the same 8,700 number that the DoD is currently operating under.
You have any examples of that? I have one. I know an individual, James Johnson. So he said no to the vaccine. They attempted to get rid of him, like separation, but I guess the NDA went through and they rescinded the mandate. So they couldn't do that. So he was, I believe, a specialist at the time. So they refused to send him to the promotion board for sergeant. So he was a specialist, I believe, for I think a 6-year E4. And so ultimately he was failure to make promotion. So they gave him the boot. And so that's how he got kicked out for COVID, but not really for COVID. Is that kind of what you went through, or you have a different example?
So mine was a little different. That makes a lot of sense to me, and I've heard cases like that. And not to get off on a tangent, but there's a whole other subcategory of individuals in the Guard and Reserve that were AWOL'd out. I learned from Major Gary that a lot of those guys wouldn't comply with the vaccine, so they weren't allowed to come on base, and after a few missed drills, they would AWOL you and separate you from military service. So that's another backhanded way that they got retaliated against vaccine refusals. Mine was a pattern of misconduct. There's a lot to unpack here as far as that goes. In my particular case, there were factors like we're going through COVID and everything that entailed, from lockdowns, ROM, as we called it, 7 to 14 days, all of the insanity with the masks, back and forth, not knowing what's going to happen, coupled with the stress of a zealous command that's all about this stuff and a failing marriage. My performance did start to slip. At that moment, they honed in on me and found every excuse in the book to process me out. So my categorization is for pattern of misconduct, as it would be for a lot of individuals in similar cases. Now, I know what my failings were, but the way I was treated and the way the process was handled was anything short of appropriate. I was there was probably close to 20 individuals that were getting separated, but only a handful of those individuals were for things like vaccine refusal. Some of those individuals that were getting separated were vaccine compliant. But even in their cases, I could see that the process for these sort of things wasn't being followed particularly well or by regulation.